Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. It's a pleasure to be here and to share some thoughts on how I work with people. And right now, as we're starting to unshelter with COVID, it's important for us to take some responsibility for our health. And so I thought I would share some ideas with you today. So here we go. Don't pretend to have all the answers today, but I do want to give you some suggestions on how to be healthier and how to have a stronger immune system. Okay, and on another thought, our hearts go out to those who have fallen ill or have lost a loved one during this pandemic, and we sincerely hope to see a safer solution sooner rather than later. And it's you know it's it's awful, it's an awful thing, but we can do things to make ourselves healthier in the future. So let's talk about things you already know. So we know about physical distancing. So we know about wearing a mask, and I don't know how many of you out there are wearing masks. But we want to think about not social distancing, and that can be easy to do at a time like this. So the idea is to not lose touch with people in your lives, with your family or friends. And we're doing a lot of this through Zoom and this kind of thing, and it's a godsend, right? People are really doing different things to just stay in touch, and people are loving it. You hear all kinds of stories about that. Okay, so the mask is important because it will help you avoid touching your face, your nose, and your eyes and your mouth. And I never realized how much I do that until I did the Zoom thing and I was watching my hands. So the thing is to really avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth because you don't want to carry germs into your respiratory tract or into your lungs. And you want to wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. So how many of you are doing that? I know I don't always do that. So let me show you what that means and why it's really important. So look on the left side, you'll see this is an ultraviolet light, and it's showing where the germs are hiding with unwashed hands. Can you guys see that? It's pretty interesting, right? You think you'd never guess, right? Then you wash your hands with 5 seconds, right? The next one is washing your hands with soap. Look at the big difference. And this is comparison to the other side, which was unwashed hands, 20 seconds. Pretty incredible. And this is a wash your hands with hand sanitizer on the left side with an ultraviolet light, and then washing your hands with soap after 20 seconds. And so people have been saying things like, happy birthday, singing happy birthday twice. And somebody made a really interesting comment about saying, what are you grateful for 10 times? And I kind of really like that one. I don't always remember it. Happy birthday one I remember better. But it's another thing to think about in terms of what's going on now. Because there's a lot of stress with everything. So, okay. So cover your cough or your sneeze. We've heard that for a long time when we're growing up, right? So they were talking about covering with your elbow, right? That was like one of the things initially came out. However, you want to use a tissue and so that you can put that in the trash because the water from your nose and your mouth can come out and infect somebody else. And you want to clean and disinfect frequently touched objects and surfaces. So here's a little cautionary tale. They have done studies with certain cleaning products that are good for disinfecting but not good for the lungs. So think about looking at your labels of your products that you use to clean and disinfect. Some of them have been known to increase people's risk for asthma and allergy and those kind of things because they stay in the air and we're staying indoors more often. So the company that I work with has products that are biodegradable and do not do any injury to the lungs. So I was very concerned about that because I remember a couple of years ago there was a study that said women who stayed at home had a high risk of breast cancer, and women that stayed at home and had children had a high risk of breast cancer based on some cleaning products. So that was a really eye-opening kind of thing. So if you want more information about that, I can talk to you about that. Okay, how many of you take off your shoes before when you come in the house? You know that's more important than you think. And I've heard that some stores are having people put like little booties on their feet before they come in the store and that kind of thing, which I think is a really wise move. Dr. Charles Gerba, he's a microbiologist from the University of Arizona, found that there was 421,000 bacteria on the bottom of people's shoes. So now, not all bacteria are bad. So we know that now because we've been talking about things like acidophilus, and those are good bacteria, right? But E. coli is a bad one, and it helps promote stomach distress and respiratory problems. And so taking the shoes off will not only protect you, it protects the kids that are on the floor, and then you won't have to vacuum so often. So that's a really good tip. Okay, the next side of this is, and they don't talk about this in the media that much, working to optimize your health and build your immune system. This is such a key thing. And so what I'm going to have you guys do, I have a pencil and paper handy. So you didn't think there was going to be a quiz, did you? So I want you to get a pencil and paper handy because we're going to talk about some lifestyle things that can really help build your immune system and your health. And what we'll do at the end is what you're going to do is you're going to write down a list of 1 to 7, and then we're going to add up a total at the end, and that'll give you an idea of where you're at with terms of how much you want to, how you're doing with your immune system. Okay, so let's talk about 7 things you can do right away to increase your immune system. So let's talk about don't smoke. So how many people here smoke? And I think a lot less people are smoking than they used to. But smoking actually reduces your immune system. It makes you more susceptible to infections like pneumonia and more severe diseases. It lowers your levels of antioxidants like vitamin C in the blood. So those are some pretty good reasons to try to stop smoking. Number 2 is eat diet high in fruits and vegetables. So our moms were right? Eat your vegetables, right? So vegetables, they're dense in vitamins and minerals, and they have cancer-fighting phytonutrients. They also contain complex carbohydrates, which digest more slowly, and that keeps your blood sugar levels stable. Interesting, right? It gives you more energy for like a longer period of time. Okay, next one is exercise regularly. And I know a lot of people are good about that. A lot of people that I know are good about that. And what it does, it helps flush out bacteria of the lungs and airways, and reduces your chance of getting a cold or flu or illness. So there's a lot of good reasons besides just weight. And then 4 is maintain a healthy weight. So studies show that obese patients under 60 are 2 times higher likely to be hospitalized when they're overweight than non-obese patients, and they're more likely to end up in the ICU. What the problem with extra weight is it reduces your lung capacity, so you're not breathing in deeply. So many times when I teach exercise, I really work on the idea of sitting up straighter, as you're sitting in the chair right now. Sit up straighter, opening up your lungs, allowing more oxygen to go into your lungs, and that increases your immune system, and it's better for preventing colds, flu, or viruses. Here's a tough one for a lot of people. If you drink alcohol, drink only in moderation. So we've been doing a lot of quarantinis in general. I'm hearing about. So it's better to drink in moderation. Excessive drinking will actually weaken your immune system. Getting adequate sleep. So we've heard about this too, right? Getting adequate sleep. So they suggest 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. So what that does, it reduces your likelihood of getting sick because your immune system is stronger, and it also reduces the severity. So those are 2 pretty good reasons to get adequate sleep. And then take steps to avoid infections. So and that means hand washing, frequently cooking meats thoroughly. They're all really big. These are really good things you can do like right now to boost your immune system. So when you take a look at this, every day our bodies make new cells. So they make skin cells, they make hair cells, and so your skin cells are changing like every 30 days. Your blood cells are changing every minute or so. Your muscle cells are changing every often. Your bone cells are changing every 7 years. We never know what nutrient we need at what time to do that. And this is really a summary of what kind of things we need on a daily basis that we never think about. And that's why it's important to get nutrition-dense foods and supplements to help you build your immune system. So here are some foods that are really important for building your immune system. And I say the first one is blueberries. I think that's very popular. And it's got flavonoids, which are really important. Broccoli is a really good vegetable to be eaten raw or slightly steamed. It's very tasty. It's really easy to stick into your diet. Red, yellow, orange bell peppers. See all the colors? They always tell you to eat more, when you have your plate, have a plate full of different colors. Not only is it more satisfying for your eyes, but it's actually healthier for your immune system. So I find that really interesting, that the thing that's good for us is actually visually satisfying too. I kind of like that. Spinach is another one, leafy greens, like salads, but you want darker greens. Green tea is really important, lean beef, and sweet potatoes. So here's one that we love, that we need every day, dark chocolate. How many of you are trying to get your daily dose of dark chocolate every day? Okay. So are you doing all you can? So let me give you some suggestions of supplements to boost so that you are having a stronger immune system. So the first one is protein shakes. So being careful with what brand you use is really important, because they've been saying a lot of the plant-based protein shakes have lead in them. So you really want to just be careful with that. So just an FYI kind of thing with that. Protein shakes, because when you're making new immune cells for your body, protein is the key thing to keep those cells really healthy. The second one is vitamin C. So they call vitamin C a hero. See, a hero. I do like that one. And it's water soluble, so when you do have vitamin C, it kind of goes through your system because it's water soluble. Some things get stored in the body, like vitamin D3, because they're fat soluble. Little extra tips for your for your nutrition information. And what they find is with vitamin C, that having enough vitamin C in your body before you get sick will reduce a duration of getting sick and preventing yourself from getting sick. So that's really cool. And it does it by 1/2. So 50% by doing enough vitamin C before something comes on is really important. And the next vitamin to think about in terms of boosting your immune system is vitamin D3. So if you live north of Florida, you're probably not getting enough sun. And if you use SPF, you're not getting enough sun, and you're not getting enough vitamin D3 in your body. So that's really important one to supplement also. The last one you're probably not going to recognize because it's made by the company that I work with, but it's a really important immune protector. So the person that got the immunologist that put this together, he used 4 plant-based herbs to put it together, and it's a modulator. It protects the body from colds and flu. And there are 4 published studies on that particular vitamin. It's amazing. Most of the stories I have about this are with allergies. Allergies are an incomplete immune system response. I don't know if you've heard that before. So that means that your immune system is not fully functioning correctly, and what this does, it helps it function more correctly. And if you want more information about Nutriferon, let me know, because it's a really powerful thing to add to your supplements. And I thought I would also share with you today what to look for in a supplement company, because I spent a lot of years trying to figure out, is this a company that I wanted to align with or not? And so here's some things that I came up with over these 30 years. First of all, you want a company that's a nutrition company. So the company I work with was started by a chiropractor, and it's been around 65 years, and it's a nutrition company. That's one thing you want to know. That is it a marketing company or a nutrition company? Two different things. Does it work? Is it a drug company? That kind of thing. Second thing, do they have zero tolerance for contaminants? The company I work with has zero tolerance for contaminants. For example, I found this quite interesting. I love green tea, and I found out that green tea has some of the sources of green tea have had a lot of contamination recently. And so the company I work with stopped using that particular source because they are so particular about what the raw materials are. The other thing that I think is really, really important, since you're choosing something, you want to have a science-backed company. So one of the plastic surgeons that I know, what he did, he said when people come to him with supplements, he always asks for a white paper. And a white paper just means that it's a study that was done by somebody other than the company, and the company has no control over the results. So it's really it's independently looked at. And the company I work with has over 125 published studies like that. And the next one is who endorses them, without being paid. So we have Olympic athletes. So I teach exercise, and one of the things we talk about with exercise is how well are you recovering? And these products do help you with recovery when you exercise, because you want to make sure that you have, lean muscle. If you get too many aches and pains, you might not be getting enough certain nutrients, and I can help you with that. But you're not getting enough certain nutrients to help you to recover, and that's really important, and it's important for your immune system also. Okay, here's a fun thing. So everybody here, what I'd like you to do is take your fingers, put them on your earlobes, and massage your earlobes, and just take a second and just see how that feels. So once a day, massaging your earlobes can help you improve your immune system. How cool is that? And it's very relaxing, and we love to be touched, especially right now, right? All right, so are you guys ready for a game? So I'd like each one of you to grab a piece of paper, and there's a prize at the end, by the way. So I would like you to write down, and if you want to put in the chat box if I'm going too fast with the numbers or whatever, so that we can get a really good tally about what the answers are, and then who is the winner. So write on a piece of paper 1 to 7, okay, and then you're going to write a number next to that. All right, so let's start. Are you guys ready? So we talked about lifestyle things to help you improve your immune system. So number 1, do you smoke? If you smoke, give yourself a -2. That's the only minus, by the way. And if you don't smoke, give yourself a 1. That's number 1. Number 2, I have to find the numbers here. There we go. Number 2, vegetables. If you had vegetables for lunch today, and then vegetables for lunch at your breakfast, you give yourself a 1 if you had it for lunch. Give yourself a 2 if you had it for breakfast. So we're going to add these up at the end. Okay, the third one, exercise. If you exercise today, give yourself a 1. If you exercise for 3 days, give yourself 3 points. So remember at the end, we're going to tally these up. Okay, ideal body weight. That's an important one for immune system. So 5 points if you are at your ideal body weight. And then 10 points if you're 10 pounds or more, give yourself 2 points. All right, number 5, alcohol. If you've had no alcohol in the last week, give yourself 3 points. And if you had one during the last week, give yourself 1 point. Number 6, if you had 8 hours of sleep, give yourself 3 last night. And if it's 7 hours, give yourself 2. So remember, we're adding all these up to see who's the winner. Number 7, are you regularly washing your hands for 20 seconds? So we talked about that. That's really important to do it for 20 seconds. So give yourself a point for number 7. And we have some perks here, some extra bonus points. If you took a multivitamin this morning, give yourself 2 because we know we can't get everything in our foods. And then if you took a protein shake this morning, you get 1. So if you would like to add those up, take a moment to add those up and see who's got the highest score. And within the next week, let me know who has the highest score. Is that okay, Maggie?
Yes, that works. If you'd like to put it in the chat, I'll take note of it, or you can also email info@SavvyLadies, and I'll let you know.
So check it out. Okay.
Okay, great. I'm seeing some come in through chat
Good.
for now.
Good.
Thank you, and I'll follow up and check emails too.
Great. That's awesome. So I have a 5-minute health print evaluation I do with people. That's for free. If you guys are interested, here's the information on the slide, and my cell numbers here and my emails here. And let me just see this the next one. Okay, that's just a thank you. So I just want to thank you for tuning in, and if I can help you in the future, I would be happy to do that. I had a lot of fun doing this, and thank you for coming.
All right. Thanks, Diana. That was really great. I'll remind everyone, if you have a question now, you can use the chat box, or you can email info@savvyladies.org. And also, if you want to let us know your points, you can use the chat box or email info@savvyladies.org. And so, Diana, the first question for you is asking about soap and water. If they're not available, is there a proper way to be using hand sanitizer?
Yes, there is. So, yes, because when you're using hand sanitizer, you want it in every part of your finger. So it's the same rule, 20 seconds. It's in your fingernails, it's in between your fingers. So yes, that's really a very good question. Yes, you just want to make sure you're getting all the crevices in your hand. Good question.
Okay, thank you. The next one was mentioning the dirtiness of shoes and not realizing how much of a problem that is. And so wondering if she should start washing her shoes regularly.
I don't think that's necessary. It's just more about taking them off at the door. I think that's a better option. That would be a lot of work each time you're walking in and out of the house. It depends on the situation of your house also, what you have. That's a tough one. It depends on what your situation is. Taking the shoes off of the door is a really good way to do it. It makes your house less dirty also, which is great in general.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Another question is saying that I'm trying to limit my trips to the grocery store during this pandemic, and I find that if I'm ordering groceries online, I'm not getting as many fruits and vegetables as when I shop in the store and can easily buy them. So do you have some tips for me to be eating healthy during this pandemic?
Well, one of the things is supplements. They really do help you fill in the gaps with that. It's really, that's a really important thing to do, supplements. I've been working with people for 30 years for different topics, for things like energy, immune system. Doing a really high quality supplement is really important during now. The other thing she could think about doing is just getting frozen fruits, from when she orders. I think that might be it. I'm not sure how long it takes them to deliver them. But I'm just thinking like frozen fruits and that kind of thing. I work with a company that's got a really great greens booster. And it's got kale and broccoli, and that's another thing you can do. You can add that to your diet, making sure that you're getting enough greens. There's things you can do supplement-wise to help you with that too. if that's not going to work. The frozen stuff is good.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Great.
Does that make sense? I mean, tell me if I'm not making sense. Frozen is good, if you can't get all the fresh things. But supplementing is like a really key thing to do too.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And so the last question is asking about the information you shared today, taking all this into account for doing this on a regular basis versus what should be increased during times like this, like a pandemic or even flu season. What should be regular versus what should be increased during tough times?
Okay, so cold and flu season is like a really important time to be really cautious about your immune system, how you're exposed to things, are you washing your hands? I mean, all these things are actually good practices in general. I don't know about the mask and in normal times. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to pan out in the terms of common practices, but I mean, for right now, I'm using a mask because it protects me. So things that I'm telling you to do, like washing hands, taking your shoes off, eating more fruits and vegetables, those are all things you can do all the time because you really want, on a daily basis, you really want to protect your body. That's the barrier part of it. And then you got to really protect the inside of the body too. Because you think about this, if you're in an elevator with somebody that's got a cold and somebody sneezes on you, why does not everyone get a cold? It's because their immune system is not as resilient. So really, I really think a key thing is having a resilient immune system on the inside as well as on the outside. I don't know how this is going to pan out in terms of everyday practices, but washing your hands and just taking care of what you're doing, just being more conscious of what you're touching when you're outside. Depends where you live. I live right in Manhattan, so it's a little bit harder to be really vigilant, and we're very vigilant about when we go outside and what we touch outside, and if there's somebody on the streets, we put the mask back on. It depends where you're living also.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, those are the questions that we have. So I want to thank you, Diana, for a really helpful presentation. Thanks for sharing all these tips with us today. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today and asking questions. And we will be sending out Diana's contact information that's here on the slide. And if you sent a message through the chat with your points, thank you for doing that. And if you'd also like to follow up over email, info@savvyladies.org, you can let us know your total and we'll see who the winner is. So thank you again, Diana, for a really great presentation. And thanks, everyone. We hope you all stay healthy.
Stay well. Yeah, please stay well. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Diana.
Thanks, Maggie. You're a doll. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.